Okay, so let's see. See, this is just spinning, spinning. Okie dokie. Let's see here. Let's try this. Okay, so let's see what we can do now. Okay, okay. Let's see. Let's listen to Mr. Beck. Oh. Oh, yeah. Ah. Hmm. Okay. Let's see here. Hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh. Hmm. I should be able to follow my live stream on YouTube. I just need to find it. I need to find that stream. So let's see what I can do. Oh, this is how we're gonna do it. This is how we're gonna do it. Let's see here. Oh, channel, man. Just go to his channel. Let's see here. Hold on. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see what's going on here. I'm still learning this. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so.
And that's how they influence, is by that kind of like power of the editor, etc. And I just don't think that's what Reddit is. Reddit ultimately influences by the collection of the community and the thoughts of users they're not editors. They may be experts and deemed experts, by the community, but they're not like paid by the brand or anything like that, where they start from having more say than somebody else. It all starts on people's terms. So they're fundamentally very different.
Okay. And does that help or hurt your case in brands, advertisers?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that because there's nobody under us who's coming before us, it gets this. And so you reach for like the paradigms, you know. I understand publishers, I understand social platform, and then we're like, okay, animal vegetable, minerals, you know, but I have this other thing that's different. And so I think sometimes that's what what is your mission? You know, so we get some of that. I think that's really too in the last year. You know, a lot of marketers have heard our story, and frankly, we hear the word community mentioned by marketers. They're looking to understand, have a more profound understanding of what community is, and because that's the basis of what we do, I think they've started to they really understand, you know, what Reddit is and how it fits into, you know, their objectives and their world. But I think, you know, it's probably taken the last year of storytelling to get there.
Yeah. Would you say that Reddit is in a moment of transition right now? In that
I need
sense?
to grant you permission. Granted permission.
I like to say, I think this is Reddit.
Okay, welcome to the new YouTube. Okay,
We
yes.
have, from a business standpoint, I talked about the investment we made on the advertising side. We grew over 100 last year. We have the capabilities, the team, the technology to serve our clients in a
Okay, so this
wide
right
variety of
here.
ways,
Okay, so
from
here.
brand engagement and soon to
Built in
be
webcam.
you want to buy on a reserve basis, you want to buy an auction basis. We have a lot in place. We have the measurement. So that's what feels really good when I say it's like our moment, because I feel like we have a lot of offerings to bring to market that are competitive. I think our story is really clear. And you think about just what's happening in the general environment. I think marketers want diversification. They want a principle.
No children.
They want community. They want the understanding
Okay, so all right.
of what a group of people
Oh.
who are their people. They want to be able to talk to them.
Hmm.
So I think it's just like a great moment for it.
Yeah. Okay, Jen, I have one last question
Sure.
for you. On this podcast, we always give our listeners recommendations.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you can recommend a podcast, a book, a movie,
Okay.
a practice of life, or a subreddit that's
Yeah.
fun and quirky.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to recommend to our listeners?
Huh. I've been doing something. One of my resolutions this year is that my mother told me that she's like, "You're a perpetual motion machine." It doesn't seem very, very good to be that. And so what I'm doing is when I am being eternally peripatetic, I take a glass of water and I just sit down and drink and have fun.
Webcam.
And it's really hard to do.
Streaming.
To not read, to not do something else and drink a cup of water. It's incredibly meditative. It actually really calms you down and lets you reflect. But it isn't hard to do. But it reaches you. So
Okay, so let's see.
I would offer that as something that might be interesting.
I love that. How often do you do this?
I try to do once a day.
Once a day, you just have a full glass of water,
That's it.
sit down,
That's it. Nothing else.
and do nothing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Feels like a long time.
Well, Jen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So going off of Jen's recommendation of sitting quietly and drinking an entire glass of water without looking at your phone, getting hives just thinking of that, why don't we go through our own recommendations? Ariel, you go first.
Sure. So one of the things we saw this week at CES that I think is genuinely cool and genuinely recommend all of our listeners get is the YubiKey for iOS. So YubiKey, if you're not already using one or you're not familiar, is a way of doing hardware two-factor authentication. So it's a way of protecting your accounts by not just entering a password, but also having a device that you plug into your computer that says like, nope, it's really me. It's not hackable. It's a piece of hardware that you carry with you. We love these at Wired. We actually used to give them out with our subscriptions because we believe in them so much. And it's just a very, very easy way to keep all your accounts safe. Of course, one of the things that's annoying about the YubiKey is that you can set up two-factor, but then you can't use it on your phone. Because these things, for now, will be plugged into your computers. Yubico, the company who makes them, is changing that by creating iOS specific So it's not shipping yet. It will come out sometime this year. And basically it will look exactly the same, but it'll come into your phone, giving you just like that extra boost of security every time you want to use it.
I really like the design because it has lightning on one side and USB-C on the other. So like you can
Minimize
use it on
this.
MacBook, and when the
Minimize that.
iPhone inevitably goes
Minimize
to
that.
USB-C for its connector, then it'll just keep it.
There you go.
I have to say I haven't used a YubiKey yet. So just I'm all software on 2FA. I use my password and I like that. And then I really like the
Oh.
autofill.
Oh, yeah. There you go. There you go.
Super smooth. But now, after this, I'm gonna put YubiKey.
Yes. They're just like a little bit safer. Like using two-factor, like with like a Google Authenticator or like a software-based solution is great, but it's not foolproof, right? Because it can still hack that in theory, right? Thing that you're holding in your hand, if you don't have that, just go steal it. Right? That would be like Mike stealing
Okay, so if I put you there, let's see what it does.
Yeah, and to be clear, I'm not using my password for 2FA because that's just random password storage. But yeah, I'm using just standard, text message based 2FA.
Yeah.
Oh.
As a Pixel, Google Pixel Android user, I like the Neo. The has NFC, so you can just tap it to your phone for 2FA, which is really so like the best thing about doing it on mobile is that you don't have to switch apps to go over to your authenticator.
Now I should. Let's see here.
And then go back and plug it in before it
I
expires.
should be able to do my beta version here.
That's really nice.
Security.
Yay!
So important.
Somebody was talking about privacy and security.
My friend Derek is here.
Oh, don't. So that sounded really sinister. Don't we all?
Wish you were here, Brian, to talk about security.
Okay, so right there.
My recommendation is this really fun product.
Yeah, I can do this. So I'll figure something out here. Hold on.
This year, it's called Mui.
I need to minimize this.
It's
That
made
needs to
by
take
a
place
company from
first.
Kyoto, Japan, by the same name. It's a wood panel. It's about, I'm holding my hands up like anybody can see what it's about 2.5 feet long and maybe about 8 inches tall, 9 inches tall. It's a touch-sensitive wood panel.
Yeah,
and
see,
it
this is
has,
blocking that screen.
a light array behind the wood.
Minimize.
So as you touch it and swipe it, it lights up.
There
And
you
it turns
go.
into a smart display. So you can use it to display news headlines. You can use it to display the weather. You can have it just show a message. You can also use it to interact with your smart home. So you can turn off the lights. You can turn down the lights. You can adjust the thermostat. You can hook it through if this then that. So it's basically just like a smart home controller. So if you had something like a touch screen or like a brilliant light switch or something like that, it's basically the
I
same.
gotta
thing,
give it permission
except
from this
it's
point.
just
So
wood.
So I need to minimize
it's not a real product
this
yet.
right
They're
here.
going through Kickstarter, and it's going to cost about $1,000.
You should make sure right there, bro.
This year, fingers crossed, fall team, which probably means it'll show up in 2020. The reason I'm recommending it is because it got a lot of attention this week, and a lot of people were poo-pooing it because it's a $1,000 piece of wood that doesn't really do much that like a $400 smart home switch can do. But I think it's important because it shows us what the future of interaction could look like in a smart home. Like you could walk into your house and instead of touching a screen, you could just touch a piece of wood on the wall. That's pretty cool. And that's something that, like, whenever we talk about what smart home is going to look like, it's like, oh, it's going to be a mirror that you can interact with, and your alarm clock, and your television. But it's like, yeah, those are screens. What about things that aren't screens? And here's something that's really beautiful. It is beautiful, and doesn't really have a screen. I think it's kind of neat.
It does look really nice. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, so my recommendations are a little bit, I don't know, optional, I guess, in the sense that they're not hardware, and also they're probably not things that you can get right away, but I still am recommending them regardless. So for the past couple of years at CES, companies like Amazon and Google have a pretty big presence here because of their voice assistants. Their voice assistants, Google Assistant and Alexa, start popping up in new hardware, and there are literally thousands of third-party hardware makers that are starting to make devices that are using basically these companies software kits and putting their systems in their speakers and smart lights and toilets, as we saw this year in the recent app. So this year, a couple of favorite things, a couple of the things that I saw that I really liked were updates to Google Assistant that I think would change a lot of people's experiences at home. So if you're a Sonos owner and you put a newer Sonos, which is a Sonos Phone or a Sonos Beam, you will soon be able to get the Google Assistant on those speakers, which is pretty cool.
Can I just clap real quick?
Yeah, I know, it's taken them a while. Taken a while, Sonos. We've been hearing this promise that you're going to be like the Switzerland of smart home and all that stuff. It's already worked with Amazon Alexa for a long time, but now you have the option, or you soon will. The software is going to be rolling out slowly. And then the second thing was something called Google Assistant Interpreter Mode, which we saw in the late night demo in Caesar's Palace the night before the show officially started. So Google Assistant will now act as a real-time translator between two people trying to have a conversation where language is a barrier. This will work on Google Smart Displays and on Google Smart Speakers. So in the example we saw, a quote-unquote German tourist who was really a Google employee posing as a German tourist went up to the concierge at Caesar's Palace and said in German, "I would like Celine Dion tickets." Go Celine Dion, part of the Google demo, but don't we all? You're hardly and then the concierge didn't speak German, so instead he just activated Google Interpreter Mode on the smart display, and the two of them had a conversation while the smart display was translating in nearly real time. It was fascinating. It's a fascinating use case. Google's been doing really interesting stuff with voice over the past year. Some that are very simple questions. This is one I could see being genuinely useful, and so that is something that they're rolling out slowly. First, with the concierge.
I should have maximized.
Very cool.
That was a really long recommendation. Sorry, guys.
No, that's fine.
It's like a translator. Maybe that should be the next Google Assistant feature. I recommend that.
No, you can do that.
Can Google
No, you
Assistant
can do it.
shrink really long-winded explanations of things? Because I could use it. Yeah,
I feel like you're trying to put us out of a job because that feels like a Google Assistant editing feature.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, I feel like I'm being subtweeted now. Well, I think also Alibaba demonstrated something last year and this year that was also they did like a machine translation kind of thing. I think from the description, Google sounded a lot more elegant. But that's been promised for a really long time, and I think it's really very exciting to me.
It is.
When it shows up in the phone and you don't need a Google Home or a Google Home Hub or a Google Home Max or a Google Home Mini in order to make it work, then that would be awesome. If you could just pull your phone out, put it on the table, and have a conversation with somebody with your phone,
Yeah.
acting as a translator.
Because right now you can do that, of course, but you have to open an app.
Yeah.
And, there have been headphones that have promised this real-time translation, but that's for exactly one person who's having the conversation, the person who's wearing headphones. So yeah, you're totally right. Like having it be just this near instantaneous thing, just with the device that you carry with us. That'd be very cool.
Yeah. Good recommendations. Thanks everybody for listening to our special CES episode from Las Vegas, Nevada. So exciting. You can find all of us on Twitter. Ariel, you are at Pardesoteric. Lauren, you are
Good with me at Lauren Good with me.
at Lauren Good with me, and I am at Snapbite. You can also find our special guest, the High Pitched Mechanical Wine, at High Pitched Mechanical Wine on Twitter. And we'll be back next week in the studio, thank goodness, with more news from the Gadget Lab. Thank you. Hello, I am Michael Polori. I'm an editor here at Wired, and you are listening to the Gadget Lab podcast. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Lauren Good.
Hello.
Ariel Pardes is out of the office today, recovering from dirty CES gremlins.
It's a real thing.
If you listened to last week's show, which we recorded in Las Vegas, you may have noticed that she was losing her voice quite dramatically, and although her voice is not quite recovered, her whole upper respiratory system is also not quite recovered, so she should be back next week. This is the podcast where we take you through all of the top tech topics of the week and break down the gadgets, apps, and services that you need to know about. But it's not just about gadgets, it's about relationships with them and how they impact our lives.
And this week, we're going to be talking about force filtration, smart sneakers, and much, much more. And our excellent Wired colleagues, Natasha Tiku and Peter Rubin, will join us for these topics. But first, we're going to catch you up on some news.
So what's the first headline?
Okay, well, you've been breached. Well, I don't know that for a fact, but there's a good chance you have been, because earlier this week, Wired editor Brian Barrett reported on a massive data breach, one that puts Equifax to shame. There was a newly revealed trove of leaked data that included more than 772 million unique email addresses, over 21 million unique passwords, and they were all posted to Hacking Forum.
Lovely.
And credit for discovering this, or at least first reporting it, goes to well-known security researcher Troy Hunt, who maintains that Have I Been Owned website, and of course. And as Brian says, while it's difficult to confirm exactly where all of that information came from, it appears to be like a meta breach. It's a breach of breaches. It aggregates over 2,000 leaked databases that contain passwords who basically had this protected hashing and that had been cracked. So on the upside, there were no social security numbers or credit card numbers that appeared to have been included in this data trove, but it's still a huge, huge breach. And basically, if you've ever wondered if you have been hacked before, you probably have. You should just go to Hunt's website, Have I Been Known, enter your information. You can see if your data has been breached. And in the meantime, you should also be doing things like using two-factor authentication, using a password manager like 1Password or Dashlane or LastPass or something that scrambles for passwords. Unfortunately, bad actors who are singularly focused on getting access to your data, this is what they do for a living in some cases. This is what they spend all of their time on, and we are busy human beings doing other things who also happen to have a bunch of passwords. And the only thing you can really do in some instances is be vigilant, be on top of your own passwords, be sure not to use like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over and over again, and just be as smart about your passwords as you can possibly be.
In other news this week, Google announced that it is buying Fossil Group's smartwatch technology portfolio. Fossil is one of the biggest makers of smartwatches, powered by Wear OS, which is Google's operating system for wearables that's based on Android. Fossil is unloading some of the intellectual property it's gathered over the years building watches that run on Google software. So to be clear, Google is not buying Fossil. It's just taking the chunk of the company's IP related to Wear OS. So what does that mean for the future of Google-powered smartwatches? Today, folks in the industry are saying that this means that Google is getting ready to release its own smartwatch. This is something that Google has long shied away from, having chosen so far to simply help its hardware partners develop wrist-worn computers that run its software. But this week's acquisition sort of puts Google in a prime position to release a watch under its own name. So Lauren, you reported on this acquisition today, so I'll ask you, what would a Google Watch look like?
Smart. Smartwatch would look smart. Sporty, I think. My best guess, and based on some reporting, is that what we might see would be something like a Google Fit smartwatch or a Google Pixel watch that has a heavy emphasis on health and fitness tracking. And that's for a couple of reasons. One is that the Fossil Group made clear that Google is not acquiring all of its smartwatch business. Fossil will continue to make, fashion-first hybrid smartwatches on its own, and it's retaining some of the team to do that and continue supporting that. But Fossil recently released a sport-focused watch, and I think that there's a chance that there's part of that Google, and that platform that Google might have been interested in. Google also, late last year, hired someone named Stacy Burr to run Wear OS and Google Fit. And Stacy comes from a background of digital sports, health and fitness tracking. She once ran a company that basically made health and fitness tracking sensors for clothing. She worked at Adidas for 9 years, basically like running wearables and digital sports for the company. So she has a sports background. And then the final point is just that a lot of people who are into the Apple Watch, which is the market leader in smartwatches, are into it because of health and fitness. And I think that's been made clear over the past few years, and Apple is certainly aware of it because it's really, each generation of the smartwatch just gets like more and more health and fitness focused. So I think that's driving a lot of demand for smartwatches, and Google is very aware of that. So I would not be surprised if when we see Google's own smartwatch, it's something that the folks do pretty great stuff in health and fitness.
Right, they would sell it as a fitness wearable the same way that Apple sells the Apple Watch as a fitness wearable.
Exactly. Now, Google may face some challenges with that because of privacy. Of course, once you start tracking people's health, people do have concerns about where all that data is going. Apple uses privacy practically as one of its marketing pillars. We keep all of your data private, and Google is not in the same business of that. So, so there will be questions around that if that's the direction that Google goes in. But yeah, I just wouldn't be surprised if that's what we see eventually.
Yeah, and Google has traditionally used its, for lack of a better way of putting it, its looseness around privacy as one of its own marketing features.
We actually allow nudity when the primary purpose is educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic.
So I'd be really curious.
And if there's no nudity, but minimal clothing meant only to be sexually provocative, it'll likely be age restricted. Let's take a look at other examples. A creator uploads a video about the greatest works of art in history, which contains nude artwork. In another video, a creator uploads a compilation of hacked photos and clips that contain nude celebrities. Either of these videos violate our community guidelines. Yes, the second video violates the sex and nudity policy because the content and purpose of the video is meant to be sexually gratifying. Of course, there are gray areas and lots more to our policy around nudity on YouTube.
Let's get this light off.
How much of the
Yeah, Stacy, Rick, you're listening?
What if you just made a playlist of clips of celebrity wardrobe
Okay.
accidents?
Another
Could your
use
channel
is
get a strike?
Oh,
To
do it
learn
right
the answer
here.
and more, go to the YouTube Health Center article on sex and nudity. Click here or the link in the description. Thanks for watching.
Rick?
Okay, so let's see here. This is still spinning. So, Okay, so let's see. We can't do anything here, so. Nothing I can't grant it access from here. Fuck. Okay, okay. Doing something about it. Doing something about it. I'm gonna play the cop black game anymore, man. Okay, so let's go here. Come on, dude, you can do it. You can do it. Come on, man, don't let me down. I have to go here. Come on, you can do it. There you go. I just pop in this way, I believe. Okay, so let's see here. Let's go down to Google. Let's see what's going on down here. Oh man. Okay, so let's go here. What's up here, dudes? What's up? What you got about options? Options. Collapse that menu. Yes, now you're working. Collapse the menu and go here. Caramba.
My goal was to stay healthy after sports.
It's not. We don't have to do those reruns for mobile live stream. You can still stream with your webcam broadcasting. Okay, so let's see. Hmm. Enable. so let's go ahead and stop this. Can't do anything about that, so I need to go privacy settings. It should be over here. Let's see. Spaghetti-O. Okay, so we're going to manage. Go here first. Just go get your soda. Okay. We're back. We're back. All right. You're back so soon? Oh, that's funny. Not even a big deal just to go to 7-Eleven. Oh. Big Red. All right. Just go here, Google. Actually, you would stop the stream here. Let's see here, minimize this. There you are, and then I would stop the stream. Let's just start a stream. I'll see in when the confines here. I can't do anything. So let's go ahead and do the stoppage right here. The stoppage. Bingo. The stoppage.